Am I the asshole for having an intervention about my husband's parenting? We have a 10-week-old baby. Husband, 28M, absolutely adores him and wants to spend every available moment with him. I know he wants to be an amazing father, however he engages in unsafe behaviors like falling asleep on the couch while baby is contact napping, leaving baby on the playmat unattended while the dog is in the room, or putting baby for a day nap with his bib still on. Husband claims I'm too anxious, making a big deal out of nothing. Baby can't roll yet and the dog won't hurt him. He holds baby firmly while sleeping, etc. And I admit I don't react calmly and freak out, which makes him act defensive. But he is being unsafe and it stresses me out. I feel like I can't leave him alone with the baby, which only offends him more. Last week I had enough and asked my mother-in-law and sister-in-law to talk to him. They took my side and ripped him a new one. Now husband is angry that I brought him into it and made a whole intervention, like he's such a bad dad. Am I the asshole for insisting my husband change how he acts around the baby and involving his family? Not the asshole, your husband is the asshole. He is doing dangerous things that could genuinely kill the baby. Safe co-sleeping does exist, but not with anyone but the breastfeeding parent for the first few months. Even then, you need to set up a space following the safe sleep 7. I am sick of men not educating themselves on this and forcing you to do the labor of finding sources to teach him how to be a parent when you yourself are new to it too, and then he doesn't even listen to you. I would be livid. If he isn't willing to educate himself, he has to default to your knowledge. He doesn't get a say in any decisions if he's not knowledgeable about anything. Like he's such a bad dad. Never said you were a bad dad, but you are being an unsafe dad. And you are being a bad husband because you are disrespecting me by not listening and basically forcing me to involve your family, and now guilt-tripping me for putting our baby's life before your feelings. Not the asshole. I have a friend who laid their 4-week-old baby on the kitchen table. He rolled over, fell off the table and fractured his skull. Because of their negligence, CPS took the baby and they have been trying for 3 months to get him back. Do not allow your husband to put the baby at risk. Not the asshole. I know personally a 10-week-old baby that died because a parent fell asleep with them on the couch. The baby slipped in between the couch and the parent. They were a very experienced, competent parent with other children that never had a problem. It didn't matter. Things can happen so fast. However, freaking out and screaming isn't going to help. Tell your husband sorry for screaming and involving his family, but you felt you didn't have a choice since you felt he wasn't hearing you and you feared for the baby's safety. Try to end it on a positive note and tell him all the things he does that you love and appreciate. Hope he can wake up and see it's about safety and not an attack on his character. Not the asshole. Let him be mad. It is hard to be treated like a child even when you are acting like one. It is a big deal. You freaking out should have been enough. You had your do something. Could you have found another way? Sure, but why should you? It was effective and baby comes first. Just give him time to process and get over feeling humiliated. Then, let it go. Thank him when he does it right and praise how great of a dad he is so he gets his self-esteem back. Not the asshole. Husband is angry that I brought him into it and made a whole intervention, like he's such a bad dad. He was free to start behaving as a responsible parent on his own. But he did not, forcing your hand. Am I the asshole for not getting dressed immediately after I wake up and shoveling snow? We have the day off from work and it snowed overnight. My wife got up 2 hours before me and is outside shoveling the 5 inches of snow we got last night. She's pissed off at me because I won't immediately get dressed and run out there and shovel with her, claiming I'm leaving it all for her to do. My wife wants everything to be on her schedule. She wants to shovel now, so I need to get dressed and shovel with her when she wants to do it. We don't have to go anywhere, we have no work. Am I the asshole for wanting to have a cup of coffee first before going out to shovel? Update for extra info. I got up at 8:15 a.m. By 9:15 a.m. I was starting up the snowblower. By 10 a.m. it was done. All of it, driveway, walks and garbage area. I also cleared a big spot in the yard for the dogs. I usually do this. The thing is, and she knows this, she didn't even have to get out of her pajamas. I would have done it all by myself. The amount of work she put in was unnecessary. The snowblower makes the job nice and easy and she is afraid to use it, so that's why she didn't use it. Bottom line, it's 19 degrees out, no school, no mail delivery, no trash pickup, and we are not awaiting any deliveries from Amazon, FedEx or UPS. We have a running joke around here about how the prince gets treated better than the king. I'm gonna have a talk with her later about making my grandson contribute more when it comes to things like this. Wish me luck because it's not gonna go well, I think. Info. Does your wife have somewhere she has to be? Did she discuss shoveling today? Personally, I find it irritating as hell when one partner has unspoken, hidden expectations of the other, and then gets mad and blames that partner for failing. No, that's sneaky and unfair. If you want something, be a grown-up and request it clearly and out loud. If the answer to my questions is no, then definitely not the asshole. JFC, it's your day off, and yes, you should be able to drink your coffee and have a morning poop after if your lordship desires. Before having to haul snow out there. Source of irritation, my mother used to do this kind of shit to me all the time. I fucking hate it to this day. On the surface, not the asshole. But I strongly suspect this is not the whole history. At my house the timing of shoveling really matters because of when the sun hits the asphalt. Additionally, there are deliveries happening even on a federal holiday. The USPS is off today, but Amazon works people 365. So if OP has a history of not getting it done, I get why she's out there making damn sure the drivers don't fall down on their property. I think it depends on how quickly your snow turns to ice. It's a lot easier to shovel before that. But if you live in Colorado, that never happens, so you don't even have to worry about it. As per usual, this is a very simplistic, one-sided story. Either she's a total control freak who's always busting his ass for no reason, or he's a lazy asshole and this is just the latest in a long line of times he's slobbed about while his wife works, who really knows. Communicate better. Not the asshole. The adult way to do this, if she was that bothered by it, would have been to ask you what your plans were regarding snow shoveling or something to that effect prior to starting herself. Not doing it alone, getting pissed, and irrationally taking it out on you because you should have in her view automatically known her timetable. Hard to judge based on one instance, but she comes across as overly rigid. Not much fun to live with someone like that if it is a pattern. Not the asshole. I've been sitting at the kitchen table drinking coffee and carefully observing the snow for 2 hours. Snow is not moving much. It could wait for you to have coffee. Good luck with that. Sincerely, a wife but not yours. Am I the asshole for telling my wife to stop playing Roblox and do her duties as a parent? My 37F wife and I, 36M, have always tried to keep the housework pretty evenly split between us. I, for example, mow the lawn and do laundry and dishes, and she meal plans, cooks, and picks up, drops off the kids. Lately, this has all changed because she has become addicted to a game called Dress to Impress on Roblox. If you aren't familiar, it's a game where you have to dress your character in a themed outfit before the time runs out, and the other players rate it from 1 to 5 stars. It started off harmless, just a fun thing she would do during downtime before bed, but recently she has missed crucial appointments and chores because of this game. I tried to be understanding and gently remind her to do her tasks, but she would always say she forgot, or got distracted. The big argument happened last night when she forgot to pick up our 9-year-old son from basketball practice, which ended at 6 o'clock. I hadn't gotten home yet as I had to work late, and our son doesn't have a phone, so I had no way of knowing the situation. I eventually got home around 7 o'clock and realized he was not in his room. I looked around further and saw that he was nowhere to be found. I walked into our bedroom, confused, to ask my wife where he was and found her on her iPad playing the game as always. When I asked her where our son was, her eyes grew wide and I knew what happened without her having to say. I immediately got back into my car and went to pick him up. Luckily, his coach had stayed after to make sure he was picked up safe, and I apologized profusely. Apparently, he had been calling and texting my wife, who was the emergency contact, and she didn't even notice. When we got home I immediately blew up at her. How could she be so addicted to a kid's game that she completely forgot our son? Now, she's telling me it was a one-time thing and that I'm an asshole for getting angry. I don't know what to think. I do kind of understand her side of the story as it has only happened one time, but she has to be a responsible parent. She can't just completely forget about our child who has no way to get home on his own. So, am I the asshole? Not the asshole. This isn't a chore she's blowing off, this is forgetting your own child. How could she not even notice the calls and texts from the coach? That's what I'm wondering about. Is something else going on with her? Is this real? She needs therapy if she is so addicted to a silly kids game with avatars that she is forgetting her own real child. This is a scary and serious event for your kid. And okay, maybe losing track of time but missing the calls and texts too? That's insane. Not the asshole. Hope your kid is okay. He probably felt so scared and abandoned. Not the asshole. We all make mistakes, even with our children, but her pattern of behavior means you were 100% correct to call it out. Hopefully she sees this incident as a wake-up call. Helping and supporting her are really fucking important. She made a mistake, don't make another one by holding it over her head. OMG. Forgetting your child dizzy face. I am a mom and I am a gamer. And I think I fit the category of gaming a bit much at times. But never have I forgotten my child. I am way too anxious for that. To be sure I have alarm set, but several times I forget to set it and I never forgot. Somehow an hour before end school my nerves already start kicking in for that. And to be fair, if that ever would happen it will be the day I stop gaming. So no, not the asshole. You need to set up parenting preferences on that iPad. Limit her screen time. Read her a story before bed and make sure she brushes her teeth. Couldn't read this without laughing my ass off. No way this real. Am I the asshole for not siding with my wife when our daughter got hurt? Last night my daughter was playing with Legos before bedtime in the living room. This morning when our daughter woke up she walked onto the living room rug and suddenly began crying out, hopping on one foot. It was still early morning and we all were a bit groggy. Our daughter hopped to her mom looking for comfort. Instead of consoling her, my wife kept insisting she wasn't hurt, saying she just tripped on the rug. Our daughter kept saying she stepped on something, but my wife kept disregarding it. I was quiet about the situation until this point where I stood up for our daughter and said I think she did step on something because she was playing with Legos last night and the rug is thick. I looked at our daughter's foot and it was bleeding, so I cleaned it and put a band-aid on it. I then put on a funny video of people stepping on Legos to cheer our kid up and show her it happens to other people too. After this my wife storms upstairs angrily. I wait a while to see if she comes back, but she doesn't. I decide to put our daughter in the tub, then go check on my wife. When I check on my wife, she is brooding and angry. I asked her what's wrong and she denied anything is wrong. I asked her why she stormed upstairs if nothing is the matter. She then proceeded to say we were ganging up on her. She said I provoked our daughter to go against her. I told her all I was doing was acknowledging our daughter was hurt when she was denying it. She then said I should have never come upstairs and make her angry. I told her she was acting childish and the situation was about helping our daughter, not about her. We began arguing, our daughter watching now. Noticing this, I shut down the argument and took our daughter back to the bathroom to continue her bath and console her. I now feel like I'm in the doghouse for no good reason. I understand my wife made to feel like it's us against her and probably feels isolated, but I personally feel in this situation, she is being immature and self-absorbed. Am I the asshole? Info. Our daughter was using the potty when I went to check on my wife. She entered the tub when I was with her later. As you describe, I don't understand your wife either. I mean, your daughter was literally bleeding. I suppose I can understand if your wife was thinking that your daughter was flopping like a European footballer. It can happen that a kid tries to exaggerate being hurt for attention. However, when blood has entered the scene, it kinda bears some attention. Feels like your wife realizes the mistake, but is doubling down to win. She's being an asshole. Not the asshole. I did raise my eyebrow a bit at you leaving your daughter in the tub by herself, but then again, I don't know how old she is, so that could be just fine. Info. Does your wife have a history of going off like this if things don't go her way? Not the asshole. Your wife cared more about being right, even to the point of being upset she wasn't. She viewed the whole thing through a lens of hurt pride and ego, not of concern for your daughter, and so she couldn't even see how you were handling the situation so as to look after and comfort your daughter. This kind of thing shouldn't be enabled by you going along with being in the doghouse. She was wrong. Your daughter was hurt and you took care of that. It wasn't a plot to show your wife up. That's the line you need to hold with her. Not the asshole. Is your wife usually cold and unloving toward her own daughter? If my baby cries, the first thing I do is figure out what happened and console him. Her behavior is only going to teach your daughter that she must bottle up any negative emotions and pretend things are okay. I imagine if she keeps this up she also won't feel safe confiding in her, because who wants to be dismissed and told their problems aren't that bad by their mom, someone they're supposed to trust? Not the asshole. Did she see that your daughter's foot was bleeding? That's not ganging up on her, that is taking care of an injured child. If this is her usual reaction to your child being injured, get your wife some help. It is not safe for your daughter to be alone with her. To not even check if the child is actually injured? That's not safe. Not the asshole. Your daughter was clearly hurt, her foot was bleeding. That's more than tripped over the rug.